Hi, this is David Newton. I've got a special little item that I want to cover today, and it's called luck. And I'm going to be doing a reading from today plus the next 3 days uh, based upon the principles that you'll find in the Luck Factor book, which is written by Dr. Richard Wiseman. Here's a copy of the book. Now, this is one of my original copies that I'd purchased way back in 2003. When I first heard about this book, I read an article that was in the Age newspaper about it, and I literally could not wait for the book to come out. I was going into the local Dimmicks bookstore in town again and again and again until bang, it appeared there, and I grabbed probably one of the first copies that you could have got at that store. That's how keen I was to grab it. Probably because some of the things that I found that was exciting that Dr. Richard Wiseman had done in the area of luck is, being a guy with a scientific background and everything, he had done a study over many, many years, something like well over a decade, or I think it was something like about 11 years study on the subject of luck. And that is, he did quite a lot of studies where they were measured. There were cases where, the subjects didn't know that they were a part of the luck study. They didn't know what the full nature of it was. So the results that were there were unhindered or unadulterated by any preconceptions that were given to them by the study itself. And that's really quite an interesting thing, looking at people's attitudes as a result. And as a result of the studies that he had made, there was essentially 4 principles, and not to mention several sub-principles to each one of those principles, on how luck is created. Now, it's important also to look at maybe some of the quotes which are sprinkled throughout the book, and I've got some of my own which I've covered. Like one of the most interesting ones that I've found is, and that is by Ray Kroc. Ray Kroc, the guy who took the McDonald's to franchise to new heights based upon where it was at the time when he first encountered it. And he has it pretty well written down here what he does. And that Ray Kroc says there are 2 most important requirements to success. First, being in the right place at the right time. And the second, being able to do something about it. In his particular case, and if you've seen that movie, The Founder, Ray Kroc was in the paper cup business, among several other different things that he did, paper cups and multi-mix machines and a whole range of different things. For many, many years, he was in the food services business, supplying to retail outlets. So he was a wholesaler in that particular area. So he had a business there. However, it was coasting along at a particular level. Then something funny happened along the way. He received an order from the 2 McDonald's brothers, and at first he didn't believe the size of the order that they wanted. That they wanted so many multi-mixer machines, and he thought, that's just not possible. Now, how could anybody want that many mixer machines? That doesn't add up. He literally did not believe the order. Here's a guy who'd been coasting along, selling his multi-mixer machines and getting, a modest amount of success. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, one store orders something. He goes to that store and then he is totally amazed at what he sees. So much so that he wants to buy in on the idea. And you know the rest of the story from there. If you watch that movie, The Founder, I'll let it speak for itself by you watching it in due course. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is, like he says there in that quote, it's first being in the right place, secondly, doing something about it. So that implies that if you do have luck, it implies that you've got to take some action to it. And in the 4 different principles in Dr. Richard Wiseman's book, the first one of which is, and I'll say principle number 1, maximising your chance opportunities. And that is, people who are lucky are more likely to do something about it and to make the most of it. They not only get the lucky opportunity, it might be an idle conversation that they've struck up with someone on the train or at a cafe. They're talking to someone, and then bang, an opportunity is right there in front of them. They not only do something about it, but they also work it to make it to its best possible place of where it goes. There's 3 additional sub-principles that Dr. Richard Wiseman has made for this first principle. Principle number 1, like I say before, maximising your chance opportunities. And he says in the quote here, sub-principles. Sub-principle number 1, lucky people build and maintain a strong network of luck. In other words, they build and maintain relationships with a lot of people. So their networking ability is pronounced. Sub-principle number 2, lucky people have a relaxed attitude towards life. And that's a funny thing. A relaxed attitude allows you the opportunity to see opportunities come into your life. Because you're not under a stress or a strain or whatever at the time, you're more likely to spot an opportunity. 3, lucky people are open to new experiences in their life. And that's another interesting thing. There's one of the things that he says in the book there is that lucky people see a lot more shades of grey than that of unlucky people. Unlucky people tend to have more binary thinking and have yes or no, or I'm in or I'm out, or this will work or this won't work. In other words, they look at things. Unlucky people tend to have a fairly binary viewpoint of the world, whereas lucky people tend to see a lot more shades of grey, a lot more hues of different colours there, and they're willing to explore. They're willing to open up. Just to read probably one of the chapter summary important points about this particular one on maximising your chance opportunities. And I'll just read this here because I believe this is a very valid point. Lucky people are more likely than unlucky people to create, notice, and act upon chance opportunities. They do in various ways. They initiate conversations with more people because they are extroverted. More people start to chat with them because of their social magnetism. They have some kind of charisma. They are also good at keeping in touch with people too. So because they're good at keeping in touch with people, lucky people are also more relaxed than unlucky people. And this makes them more able to notice unexpected chance opportunities in different aspects of their lives. Finally, lucky people are also introduced to more variety of new experiences into their lives, and this also helps increase the likelihood of them experiencing and maximising chance opportunities. Look, I'll never forget one particular case here. Once again, because I was open to new opportunities, quite a number of years ago, I was with a girlfriend, and she took me out to several different social opportunities where we were mixing with a whole lot of other people at these weekend get-togethers, usually on a Friday or a Saturday night. And I suppose probably one of the most exciting things was one of those opportunities there, I was able to mix with a whole range of different people, virtually laissez-faire, doing whatever I chose to do, and she very much the same. And one of the, probably one of the first chance opportunities that came up on one of the very first occasions was a lady that I had met and got to know really, really well, only literally probably no more than about a couple of months earlier, was at one of those events and said, oh, yes, this particular lady is one of my best girlfriends, blah, 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 blah. And so we went off to have a chat and be on our own and have a great time engaging with one another. And it was almost like there was a cross-reference of recommendation for the friendships that we were making on that particular social occasion. And I think there's also another side to the coin there. Because of knowing those particular people, I was introduced to other people and so forth in the Brisbane and the Gold Coast area and so forth. It was a really fascinating network of people to mix and mingle with. And I think why they liked having a chat to me was because I was open to new experiences, I was open to new ideas, I was open to new ways of looking at things. And there were a few different things there, probably at the first were probably a little bit challenging because this was operating at a fairly high speed type of environment compared to what I'm normally used to in the social engagement world. And I learned some new things as a result of that. So I had to suck it up a little bit and take a bit of my own medicine. That is, well, I haven't done that before, but look, I'm willing to give it a try in this case. So there you go. So look, I'll leave that one with you there for the time being. There's some great things here that you need to look at here. Look at this particular book, the luck factor. And tomorrow we'll be covering the second aspect of it. And that will be an exciting one there to look at how opportunities can be created. This is David Newton speaking, signing off for now.